All right, let's talk about why so many AI projects go wrong. The answer, believe it or not, might come from the last place you'd ever expect, the dentist's office.
So picture this. A huge, ambitious AI project completely tanks. What's our first instinct? We blame the tech, right? We say, oh, the algorithm must have been flawed or the model just wasn't powerful enough. But is that what's really going on?
Let's get one thing straight. The AI technology itself, it's brilliant. In the right hands, it's a fantastically powerful tool. So no, the problem isn't the tool. It's how we prepare the room before we even pick the tool up. And that's where this whole idea of the clean room comes in. It's a lesson we're borrowing from a completely different world, a field that is absolutely obsessed with getting things right before the main event even starts. So, what on earth is the clean room principle? Well, it's actually pretty simple. It's just the discipline of making sure everything, your data, your workspace, your goals, your questions, is totally spotless and organized before you write a single line of code. It is all about the prep work. To really get this, just imagine going to the dentist. They're about to work on you, but they're using unsterilized tools, and wait a minute, they're looking at the wrong patient's file. I mean, that's a total nightmare, right? Well, that is exactly what a ton of AI teams do when they dive into a project without getting ready first.
This whole process, it all starts in a place we're going to call the intake room. This is the first and honestly the most critical part. This is where you ask all the right questions at the right time. This isn't where you do the work, it's where you figure out what the work even is. Success or failure, it's often decided right here.
So the process in the intake room is basically a full-on interrogation. You start with the big questions. What business problem are we actually solving? What does success even look like? Then you dig deeper with clarifying questions. How are we going to measure that? What data do we really have? But here's the most crucial part. You then have to question the answers you get. Are they based on solid ground or just wishful thinking? This whole three-step process has to happen right at the very beginning. And here is the fundamental mistake. Teams are so eager to start building, to get into the operating room, that they completely skip the intake process. Then, halfway through the project, they're scratching their heads asking, wait, what problem are we actually trying to solve again? By then, it's often way too late. Skipping that crucial first step is just a recipe for disaster. We call it the messy office approach. So what happens when you ignore the clean room principle? You get chaos, you get the messy office, which, frankly, is the default setting for so many failed projects. Let's just compare them. On the one hand, you have the clean room's clarity. On the other, the messy office chaos. Instead of clean data, you've got dirty tools that just produce junk results. Instead of a clear workspace, you're in muddy waters. You can't even see the path forward. And instead of a clear goal, you're just chasing infections, endlessly fixing problems that were caused by your bad setup in the first place. And when the project inevitably fails, who gets the blame? The dentist, the AI technology itself. The team says the AI wasn't smart enough or that it produced weird results. They never stop to think that the failure was caused by their own contaminated process from day one. And seriously, it really is that silly. Blaming the AI for a failure caused by a messy process is just as absurd as blaming the entire field of dentistry because one practitioner used dirty tools. The logic is just fundamentally flawed, yet it happens all the time. Which brings us to our conclusion. It's all about the context. This is the real diagnosis for AI failure. It isn't about how sophisticated your algorithm is. It's about the integrity of your entire approach. So the bottom line is this. When something goes wrong, you can't just point a finger at the technology. You have to step back and look at the entire context. Was your data clean? Was your goal clear? Did you ask the hard questions back in the intake room? The answer to why it failed is almost always found right there. So that's the question to leave you with. Think about your own projects, AI or otherwise. Are you spending enough time in that intake room, meticulously cleaning your tools and asking the right questions? Or have you rushed straight into the operating room? The answer to that question could be the difference between success and failure.